Bored. You sighed. It was the end of the day with nothing to do. You had packed all your stuff already and you were just sitting at your desk. When you looked out the window, you saw Karma Akabane, one of your classmates. But you've never really talked to him before. You were both in class 2A. You watched as a bunch of girls went running up to him, surrounding him. They were everything you weren't. They were pretty, they were confident, they were thin. They seemed to be without a care in the world. In your eyes, they were perfect, because they weren't you. You sighed as you got up from your seat. Bored. That's all you seem to know nowadays. If you went home, you'd sit in your room all day, overthinking things. So you went to the library. As you entered the building, it was crowded, like usual. The only free spot was the one old table near the back next to the window. The one where literally no one sits at. Why? Because it's one of the older tables. It's smaller than the others too. It doesn't have a computer there, and it holds a lot of old gum under it. But you had nothing better to do, so you went over and you sat down at that old table in the back next to the window. You sighed and turned your head to look out of it. Geez, how cliché can you get, acting like you're the main character of an anime? When you looked out, the first thing you saw was Karma Akabane leaning on a tree, sleeping. You felt like every time you look out, he's right there, sleeping against the same old tree. You looked into your bag and pulled out scissors, which was in your pencil case. Then you used the blade of it and carved, "I'm bored," into the old wood table. Surprisingly, there wasn't really any other markings, like carved ones. As you looked out the window again, you expected to see a sleeping red-haired boy, but instead, you saw an awake red-haired boy who was looking right at you through the window. Your eyes met for the very first time. You never realized how pretty his eyes were up until now, but then again, he was quite far away, so you couldn't see very well. He smirked at you and waved, but you just turned your head down, looking at the table. You don't really like it when guys look at you from afar. It makes you feel awkward, like they're silently judging you. You know that you're very insecure and that no one actually cares that much, but for some reason, you can't help but feel this way. And that's probably why you're never gonna get a boyfriend. Oh great, you're overthinking about things. The exact reason why you didn't go home in the first place. So you got up from the old table in the back next to the window and left. Yet another boring day has passed by already, which was mostly you sleeping in class. All the stuff you learn is really boring. God, how many times does that word seem to pop up in your head? You sighed as you got up and went outside. And who was leaning up against the same old tree, sleeping? Karma Akabane. For some odd reason, you went back to the library, just like yesterday, and sat down at that same old table in the back, next to the window. The thing you carved into the wooden table was still there, but something else was also carved into it. Something that you were sure wasn't there yesterday. I'm bored. Hi, bored. I'm bored too. Your eyes widened as you quickly sat down in the chair and traced your fingers over the carved part. You looked around the library to see if anyone was looking at you, but no one was. Even so, you grabbed your scissors and used the blade to carve in. Who are you? You sighed as you looked out the window again. The red-haired boy was still leaning against the tree, smirking at you. Yet again he waved, but you just blushed and looked away. You mentally slapped yourself for not being able to just do something as simple as smile. Why were you like this? When you slightly looked over there again, you saw him laughing. Was he laughing at you? Probably. This time, you didn't even bother to look out the window of your classroom, and instead you went straight to that old table in the back next to the window. I'm bored. Hi, bored. I'm bored too. Who are you? I could ask that same thing to you, but this table is small, running out of room. Math book. You raised an eyebrow at this. Whoever this other bored person was, wrote this on the wooden table with a pen instead of carving it. Honestly, it looked pretty obnoxious now due to how big they wrote it. Even so, you smiled at this and quickly searched for the math book around the table, but you didn't find one. Someone must have saw the notes before you and they probably took the book or something. You sighed and sat down, but as you did, you felt like the table was uneven. But it's so old, so you thought no mind to it. As you turned your head, looking out of the window, the same red-headed boy was there, looking at you. He waved again, just like he's done the past few days. You looked away and found yourself falling asleep. As you went to the old table in the back, next to the window, you felt like someone was looking at you. You looked around but saw no one. No message from board, probably because you couldn't find the math book. They were waiting for your response. Wow, you left them delivered in real life. How sad. So you went searching for the math book, and truth be told, you're literally the stupidest person who has ever lived. The book was literally in the most obvious place ever. Like, how did you not see it yesterday? It was right under one of the table legs. No wonder why you thought the table felt uneven. You quickly grabbed it, and when you opened it, a letter fell right out. As you grabbed it, it read, "Dear Board, every time I see you peek out the window, I can't help but smile at your shyness. I know who you are, but you shall never know who I am. Love, Board." You keep reading it over and over again. Their handwriting was just as before. As you finally stopped, you looked out the window, and as expected, Akabane was looking at you. He smiled like usual and waved. You looked away and back down at the piece of paper. Whenever you look away from him, he stops looking at you too. But as you were writing down something on another piece of paper to Board, you felt like his eyes were still on you. "Dear Board, well, that's just unfair. You know who I am, but I don't know who you are. At least give me a clue. Love, Board." You put your piece of paper into the math notebook before putting the book itself right where it was when you found it, under one of the table legs. You walked over to the old table in the back, right next to the window. You sat down and sighed while tracing the carvings on the table. You picked the math book up from under one of the table legs and opened it. "Dearest friend Board, it's just for the best right now. Don't worry, you'll find out who I am when the timing is right. As for a clue, well, I guess it's only fair. The math book, that's your clue. My favorite subject is math. Text me, by the way. Here's my number. 696-696-6969. Love, Board." You smiled. Favorite subject is math. Well, that doesn't help you much. You know lots of people who love math. Maybe if they told you what class they were in, it would help. You quickly grabbed a piece of paper and wrote one word, "Okay." Then you put it into the book and put the book back, right under the table leg, and, as usual, looked out the window. And just like normal, Akabane was leaning against the tree, smirking at you. His smirk soon turned into a smile as he noticed you looking at him. He waved, but this time, you waved back, smiling. Wow, you're finally making progress with your sad, pathetic life. You opened the door to the house and sighed. You pulled off your shoes and walked up to your room. You laid down on your bed and closed your eyes when you suddenly felt your phone vibrate. You checked who it was from, but saw it was from an unknown number. "Hey, who are you?" "It's me, Board." "Wait, how did you get my number? You were the one who gave me yours." "I have my sources." And from then on, you started texting every day. You didn't know who they were, but for some reason they were just special to you, like they were the only reason you were ever happy, or the reason you even felt anything. 7 months later. There wasn't any note from Board. Your "okay" was still inside the book, too, which was still under the big table leg, just like how they left you. Yeah, just a month ago, they suddenly disappeared. They ghosted you. You texted them every day still. The last thing they ever said to you was no. You asked if they were mad at you, and that's why they stopped talking to you. A simple no was all you got, even though there was nothing from them on the table. you still sat down and traced your fingers over the engraved letters in the table. You looked out the window, expecting to see the same red-haired boy who would always smile and wave. But this time, when you looked out, he wasn't there. You sighed as you got up from your seat. You haven't come here much lately. You just did because you hoped that maybe Bored said something on the table. But no. The next few days went by, and still nothing from Bored. But every day, you still went to that same table and traced the letters on the table, wondering what happened to Bored, who they were, where they are. Maybe you're just stuck in the past. It's probably just because your life is so empty. It seems that you have no purpose in your life, and you have no problems, but nor do you have any fun. It's so plain. You turn your head and look out the window. The red-haired boy wasn't here anymore. Because word spread that he got suspended for the rest of the year, and will be in E-class next year. You're in class 3A now, and still, you go and sit at that old table in the back next to the window. Despite that, you could have sat at one of the nice tables now that you are an upperclassman, along with the fact that you are in A class. You always get weird stares as you sit here, but you don't really care. You just hope that Bored will one day come back and respond, even though you know deep in your heart they probably won't. Things are boring without them. As you walk over to the table in the back next to the window and sit down, you notice they changed the table. The carvings from you and Bored are gone, including your story. The table was bigger. It didn't have an uneven angle, and it wasn't wood, but was plastic instead. Even so, you sat down and looked out the window, remembering all the many times you saw the adorable red-haired boy smirking at you, waving at you, smiling at you. The memory of it makes you sad. Truly, nothing lasts forever. But here you are, wanting to go back to the past, still holding on to all your old memories that would never take place anymore. Your memories are the key to your past, and will always be. So today, you didn't go to the library. You didn't go to the new table in the back next to the window, and instead, you walked over to the tree where you had seen your old redhead classmate smile and wave at you so many times. You sat down and leaned against the old tree. It was comfortable, and you smiled as you looked into the window where you had sat so many times, waiting for Bored. Just as you were about to get up, you noticed a red-haired boy sit down at that new table in the back next to the window. You watched as he sighed and looked out the window. You were staring at him, but this time, instead of him smiling and waving at you, you smiled and waved at him. Damn, is this why he sat at the tree? You've never been so bold in your life, which is honestly kind of sad. Like, congrats, you waved to a boy first, yay. He smirked slightly and did a small wave, like that one time you had waved back at him. He laughed when he saw your reaction. Yeah, he's making fun of you. You watched as he got up from the seat and left the new table at the back next to the window. You sighed again and looked down at your hands. You pulled all the notes that Bored had left you out of your pocket and reread them. Why do you miss them so much? It's not like you really mattered to them, nor were they a big part of your life. After all, they just left you. You haven't talked to them in about a year now. But as you were rereading one, a little paper airplane landed right into your hands. Your eyes widened as you slowly opened it. Dear Bored, I'm sorry. Love, Bored. Your hands were shaking as you reread the note over and over again. What the fuck? This can't be real. You kept staring at it until you felt your own tears roll down your face and onto the paper. Ew, why are you crying? Disgusting. You curled up and hugged your knees to your chest, hoping that no one was looking at you. Geez, if anyone saw you, they'd 100% be laughing at you. Look, it's that weird upperclassman who doesn't talk. Wonder if they're mute, haha. You tried to understand what was going on. They can't just ghost you for this long and suddenly walk in saying sorry. A normal person would probably get mad, but in this case, you were scared. What if there was some creepy stalker who wanted to kidnap you? Okay, maybe you've been reading too many horror manhwas, but still. Soon, you heard the sound of footsteps stepping on the grass and a few leaves that were on the ground. When you looked up, you saw the tall, red-haired boy who smiled at you. Ellen, what are you doing? Are you okay? You turned your head as you felt someone sit next to you and put their jacket around you. You turned your head and saw a boy. Oh, it's him. He smiled at you after noticing that you've been crying. Well, that's embarrassing. Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks for asking, you said and smiled awkwardly at him. God, you suck. You can't even talk right. So no wonder you have no friends. Oi, Asano. Your head turned back and you looked up and saw Karma where he was standing before. Don't touch them, he said, his voice flat. Akabane, what are you doing here? The boy next to you asked as he stood up. You guess he was talking about the fact that EAT class was nowhere near here. Ryan, come here, Karma said, which was directed toward you. You didn't move. In full honesty, you didn't know these two very well. Actually, you've never said a word to any of them before today. You just wanted to go home. Don't tell them what to do. I was merely seeing if they were okay, due to the fact that I noticed they were crying. It's my duty as student council president to check up on everyone, especially people within my own class, Asano said back to him. The other boy rolled his eyes, but instead of simply walking up to you and putting a piece of paper in your hands, he said, Text me, okay? He smiled and winked. You raised an eyebrow and crumbled the piece of paper in your hand. You pulled the coat that the other boy had just put on your shoulders and handed it back to him. It's okay, Asano-kun. I'm alright. Thank you for, checking up on me. I'm going to go now. Bye, you said and turned around. That's when you felt your phone vibrate. You pulled it out and saw you had 2 text messages. From Bored. I'm so sorry. From unknown number. Hi, Bored. I'm bored too. Wait, I'm so confused. Guys, what the heck? Okay, so from Bored, I'm so sorry, and then unknown number. Wait, I'm so confused. Can somebody comments save me? Yeah, no, I have no idea what's going on. Maybe he got a new number. But then why would he text from the other number saying, does that make sense? I feel like, okay, anyways, obviously we all know who Bored was. Wait, now I'm kind of thinking about it. Was it Asano? It couldn't have been Asano. It was definitely Karma, okay? We can debate in the comments, but I'm just gonna think, because it wouldn't make sense. This is a Karma story, not an Asano story. Yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have an amazing morning, have an amazing afternoon, have an amazing evening. I would like to say that I'm so sorry I haven't posted during the week. I don't want to say his name, but this teacher, he gives work almost every day, and it's math, and math is my worst subject, which is ironic considering the love of my life. His favorite subject is math. My best subject is English, okay? English, and then history, and then science, and then extracurricular. Math is the bottom of the barrel. I suck at it so much. I can't even do simple math. You cannot trust me to do 2 + 2. I have to type that shit in a calculator. That's how bad I am. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye, everyone.